Sir, I don't even have to go through my bloodline and show you all the stories, but Ali Kahio Hash is a Chickasaw warrior. If you Google his name, he comes up in newspapers even in 2018, along with French Nancy. He was a girl that she saved. That he saved, from a warrior, between the 400 French soldiers that came up to try to get rid of the Chickasaws, and they got rid of 380 of those and men, and she took off. Everybody took off running. They left this 5-year-old girl behind. He took her in, let her get old. Everybody child reared, and he married her when she got older. They had a child. She would have been a mixed child, but she had Indian heritage. And I'll show you how she had Indian heritage. And of course, her husband she married was an Irish guy, so he didn't have Indian heritage. His dad came from Ireland, sir. That means that this person has an Indian heritage from the people that she had Indian heritage because he has Indian heritage. Because here's his Indian roll card right here. But I can actually go here because they were a very prominent family in the 1800s. And so she was born in 1799. So, well during the time of your so-called slavery, but they didn't have that, sir. In fact, they had their own land. They Love County. You see Love County? Love County, Oklahoma is named after the Love family, okay? And that's where the WinStar Casino is, the biggest casino in Oklahoma. But if you go here, you get a chance to look and see what she looks like, sir. You know why? Because they were a wealthy family and they had money when cameras came out. This is your Indian, sir. Does she look like anybody that you have in your family? And let me prove to you, sir, how she has to be Indian. Her dad was Ali Kahio Hash. Her name is Mahota, okay? Let me just pull the link up to show you that in the Chickasaw Times in 2018, if you actually I'll just do this in real time. We'll just type in Hosh, you know, my family's name, and you go here, and they actually mention French Nancy, the mother of Mahota Love, and Ali Kohio Hash. Well, isn't that funny? All in the newspaper in 2018, and it's funny because this person is on my tree. Wow, let's go back to my tree so that way I can show you, sir, and also show you how they split up the families because she wasn't a slave and neither were her children, sir. But you go over here to Mr. William Samuel Love because you want to say y'all were slaves, and it was just paperwork. It was just paperwork. You can come here. You get to see the profile image. I'll pull it up here for you. So why was it just paperwork? Because his last name was Love as well. William Bill Love. He's named after his grandfather. And there's also William Love, Wilson Love, but William Love, but this is the Love, slave of. That's they say he was a slave of the Loves, but he was a Love. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? But really what it is when, you can believe what you want. But when Mahota decided to get with an Irish guy, they had a slew of mulatto babies. And the one son who married a black woman during the Dolls Rose times, this is when the Dolls Rose came out, around, the late 1800s. But when the Dolls Rose came out, because he was married to a black person, they forced him to go on the rolls as a freedman, and they called him a slave of his grandfather, Mr. William Love Esquire. But notice his name, Mr. William Samuel Love. He's named after his grandfather. You see that? He wouldn't have been he wouldn't have been a slave of him because Mr. William Love died in a war, in the Revolutionary War. And the son took off running to the Chickasaw Nation because the Chickasaw Nation was known to take in people who were trying to escape from things. And so we took him in, and then next thing you know, Mahota, for whatever reason, decided to get married to this YT guy. And when they got married, he got chosen because he chose a black woman. He went on the rolls as a dog's role. As a freedman, when what you say is a so-called slave, but his sister is a normal Indian. I'll show you. Okay, this is somebody else's tree. Daniel Olivares. He didn't know that some people's trees are public, sir. So I found the same person, Mahota Lovey Mahota. That's your Indian. You see her Indian symbol there. There's your dude Thomas Love. That's the Loves. Okay, you can even go back, and it should show Mr. William Love Esquire. As you see, Mr. William B. Love, and it goes on and on. Okay, but you come over here, and you got Lucinda Love. That was the sister of Mr. Samuel Love, who is a so-called freedman. But guess what? She decided to marry a white person, and look at that. Look at what they got. They got the Great Seal of the Chickasaw Nation. They don't have a freedman roll card. Isn't that funny? How can two people from the same mother and father, one get listed as a slave, one get listed as a normal Indian? Isn't that funny how that works? So, yeah, I could keep going, but that's just one side of my family, sir. Don't let me get started on the Chief Watkins story, okay? Because I have his Department of Interior document here when he did an interview, and this is around the time where some Indians were enslaved, sir. Some Indians were enslaved after the Revolutionary War by $5 Indians, okay? There's Chief Watkins. Dude's name was Jake Mitchell. He said his father's name is Chief Watkins. Mother's name is Dina. Okay. And it does say that he was a former slave of a Choctaw Indian. Yes, sir. But you got to think. His dad's name was Chief Watkins. He said his father's name is Chief Watkins. He said he was owned by somebody else. My master's name was Jackson Underwood. So you can't say, oh, different name, blah, blah, blah. No, his father was for sure Mr. Chief Watkins. Mother, Chief Dina. Okay? Now you got to think about this. How does your dad, how is your dad a chief if he was a slave? Also, if he was black. Because Jake went on the rolls as a doll's roll, person, and it shows him as a slave as well. But he's a slave of somebody else. But his dad was a chief of the Choctaw Nation. You got to think about that. Can you think? It sounds like the Choctaw Nation was in a war, and after the war, people were enslaved. And then they got made slaves of those who won the war. Okay, you get it? But either way, you wouldn't make an African person a chief. They don't come over and get to be chiefs, do they? I don't think so, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the type of stuff y'all be on, the type of time y'all be on anyway, sir. So I just wanted to throw this out here because I have several Indians in my bloodline, sir. That's just in my grandma's line, sir. We got other people with Indian paperwork, Indian um, land cards, all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? See, we got paperwork here, sir. Unlike you guys. Oh, there's the Indian Territory paperwork. Land allotment. Yeah, they called him a freedman, but if you didn't get anything else I just showed you in that video, you know that's just a form of, you know, prisoner of war. But believe what you want to. I'll believe this paperwork.